It's now 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Jacksonville Planning Advisory Board. If you will please stand, Chase will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Bob will lead us in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be together in a wonderful city this evening. We'd ask that you place your blessings upon us to make good decisions, to assist the residents and the good folks of Jacksonville. We'd ask that you especially bless those men and women that serve in harm's way this day on our behalf. Amen.
Okay, I'm sure everyone has their packets in front of them or something like that. At this point now, are there any changes to the agenda? If not, a motion to approve the agenda is in order.
So moved.
And we get Bob. A motion by Bob, second by Grace.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like. Motion passes. Agenda is approved. The minutes, we've had minutes presented, but they've had to be amended with, so if you've had a chance to take a look at the minutes, the end of the minutes are amended to reflect shorter ending time and a different person making the motions. So having read those, a motion to approve those minutes as amended would be in order.
So moved.
Motion to approve the amended minutes.
Second.
So we have a motion from Steve, second by Bob. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion passes. City Council update. Councilman Sosa, you're up.
No updates at this time. No, not yet.
What about the memorandum?
Well, we're getting closer.
Okay, cool. I saw you on TV.
No, thank you.
Look good. Okay, old business, there is none, so we'll move right to new business. Jeremy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Advisory Board. The first agenda item is for a proposed special use permit with type 3 site plan for Biagio's at 622 Court Street. This application was submitted by Biagio's Properties LLC. There's a request for a bar, nightclub, tavern to be located at 622 Court Street. You'll notice the location before you on the map on the screen. It's right at the corner of Court and Old Bridge, directly diagonal from the Onslow County Courthouse. This property, as well as everything around it, are currently zoned downtown business, and within that zoning district, bars, nightclub, taverns are a special use. Of special note, this property is located in the flight path overlay, but the occupancy does not trigger a special use permit within that regard. It wasn't an additional criteria, but it is located in the flight path overlay. Before you is the site plan submitted. There are no proposed site improvements. Sidewalks are existing. There are no additions to the business, to the building. The building sits almost wholly on the property with the inclusion of the front sidewalk. With it being zoned downtown business, there are no off-street parking requirements. However, there is a city parking lot to the rear of the building, also some on-street parking in the area, as well as a number of other parking lots. Staff is recommending approval of this special use permit with the findings of fact A through G being found in the affirmative, and that the proposed request creates a new use type in the downtown that could assist in promoting new development in the downtown area. If the board makes a recommendation tonight, it would go forward to the city council's meeting next Tuesday night. Representatives of the applicant are in attendance. They, along with staff, would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Got a question?
Yes, sir.
Are all four units going to be a bar, or is it just the one on the
So
corner?
while they may want to add to it, it's my understanding that you will have a bar that operates. So if there are other restaurants within the building, it would operate as the primary bar, and then those restaurants would have access to that,
Gotcha.
centralized, so to speak.
but it would go with the land, so technically the entire building could be.
Could be a bar.
Right now, there's 4 units plus a common area, so you could have 2 units that are bars, one's a restaurant, one's an office, you could have 3 offices and 1 bar. There's a combinations are kind of endless right now with the configuration, or they could blend it all together as long as it meets all other building codes, et cetera. So,
It has been all that before.
It has operated as a restaurant with a bar. This would just allow, if the use is approved by, if it moves forward and is approved, it would just be able to operate as a standalone bar without the additional use of the restaurant.
And all the parking is all based for the city streets. There's no, I mean, there's the adjacent parking lot, but there's no,
The downtown business is different than our other districts. The downtown residential and downtown business do not require off-street parking, so it is wholly up to the applicant if they want to. Now, if the use creates issues where we believe parking could be that, but there's no increase in intensity of size of the building, and there's existing parking in the area. So there's no additional parking proposed at this time.
I make a motion to approve the special use permit.
I'm gonna add the rest of that based on finding facts.
That's type 2. Oh,
I think if you look at.
on the finding facts on the,
Right there.
okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve the special use permit and type 3 site plan based on the finding facts A through G.
Be affirmed.
Second,
And affirmed.
second the motion.
Got that? We have a motion and second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Agenda item 2 is a proposed map amendment, a rezoning request. So, let me get to that item in my agenda. Apologies. Is a map amendment, a rezoning from residential single-family 20 to corridor commercial. Location before you off of Richlands Highway. This is directly behind the flea market, as you know, on 258 Richlands Highway. This request was submitted by Benny Thomas Pollard. Again, it is for 4 parcels of land totaling approximately 4.14 acres, currently zoned RSF 20, as shown on the map before you on the screen, and the request is to zone it to corridor commercial. The Camel Lane use plan, as you can see in the very bright red on your screen, identifies that entire corner of the intersection of Highway 24, 53, and 258 Richlands Highway as regional commercial. So that supports this proposed request of rezoning to corridor commercial. There was a question before the meeting about you have kind of a donut hole here of residential single-family 20. Keep in mind that these properties just west of the subject property before you are going to be impacted by the NCDOT interchange project within the next several years. They've already begun their property acquisition, so staff did not think this was the right time to bring forward a large area rezoning that may impact those properties. We would rather see what is left after the project, and also maybe potentially grab other projects that are impacted by that interchange project as an area-wide rezoning, as we've done in the past, where we updated per the Camel land use plan or new accesses based off of new roads that may be installed as part of that project. So that's not why, at this time, we're not requesting a wider area of rezoning. With that being said, staff is recommending approval of this rezoning from RSF 20 to corridor commercial, with findings of fact A through J being found in the affirmative, and that the rezoning advances the public interest by creating more development opportunities in the area, and not best served as a residential with half-acre lot requirements. That may be a carryover on one of our future past recommendations. But it creates more development opportunities. So I apologize about that. And a representative from the applicant, along with staff, would be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
I do have a question that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it pertains to this property, but in general, to all of this property. Just food for thought for the people that own the residential areas that are left over. If you're trying to leverage your land from DOT for money, would it be more advantageous that it be zoned commercial corridor versus residential?
From what my understanding is, DOT appraisers, when they call us, they ask what is the best and highest use of the property. And then they sum it up from there. But they also look at recent development approvals and applications within years prior to that, so that may be impactive. Mr. King may want to add to that because he's had some experience with that, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, as Mr. Smith stated, you know, they look at what's the highest and best use as real estate appraisers. I remember there was a strip of land with nothing but houses, and it's zoned residential on a main corridor. And, you know, they're like, well, the highest and best use is commercial. I'm like, but there's no guarantee that council would approve the rezoning. Like, well, the highest and best use is commercial. So, I mean, they do check the zoning, but from what we've always heard them say, they look at what fits within the area. So I don't know that the rezoning as it relates to, you know, but we're also not real estate appraisers. We're just telling you kind of what we've seen, what they've said to us.
On the satellite image, it looked like there was 2 homes there. They're currently unoccupied and
They are actually occupied and they will be impacted by the DOT project. I had intended to include it, but
This is right. Yeah.
I'll be happy to email it to the board after the, at a later date, but the DOT project as proposed would have an exit ramp going essentially over the second interior house right through there, so not knowing specifics, but those properties would be impacted by the project.
so currently it would have effect on them, but shortly in the near future, they're not going to be there.
Correct. If you've been along Richlands Highway, DOT's already begun some demo. They've acquired property. You can see on the city's GIS and also county GIS, they've essentially cut Taylor's IGA in half with a right-of-way acquisition. The old Advance Auto has been torn down, and a number of the residential homes that were out there were acquired by DOT, and they've started demo on those, at least pulling the siding off. Don't know how far along they are there, but the process has begun.
And the other thing, talking about not looking at expanding the rezoning, if we would have made that whole area, changing the quarter commercial would make those 2 houses non-conforming because single family's not allowed there either. So that was part of the reason that went into us deciding not to look into that at this particular moment in time.
They'll have to have that 30-foot buffer in place too, from residential to commercial at that point.
Yes, that will be impacted on any potential development. If this rezoning goes forward, they will be required to do a buffer because of the difference in zoning.
You certainly have asked good questions and made some good points.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, sir.
Please.
I move that we recommend granting the rezoning upon finding that the rezoning is reasonable, considering one or more of the findings, A through J, being found in the affirmative, and the rezoning will advance the public interest.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the rezoning. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Steve. Motion from Bob, second from Steve. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, like. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. King, reports.
Thank you, Chairman. As always, you know, we appreciate the service that the board members provide. You have to take time out of your days and weekends to review packets and agenda items and formulate questions and concerns and then show up on a Monday evening for deliberation. So we appreciate that. And that being said, we're down to an ETJ rep. So TV Land, board members, if somebody is interested in serving on the planning board, we have 1 vacancy right now, which is our ETJ representative. So if anybody's interested, let the county clerk know. Feel free to call me or Jeremy, and we'll point you in the right direction, but we've got that one seat we'd love to see filled, make the board complete. And then, if you don't have anything to do at the end of the meeting, they are, last I heard, they're planning to play baseball. It's, I don't know what time, I think it's 7 o'clock. maybe,
7.
Over at Jack Amy Park. So if you're hearing it live on TV, if you want to run over to the park to watch some baseball, or if not, if you catch it later on, well, then you'll just have to get the score update. So hopefully I think the rain's held off, and the Parks and Rec crew and city departments and staff have done a good job getting that field ready to go with all that rain that we had yesterday. So that's all that I have.
Ryan, would the ETJ rep by necessity live in the ETJ?
That's the way that it's set up, but we've had members that have been appointed that do not live in the ETJ. So at this point, the county could assign somebody that lives in Richlands or Holly Ridge if they wanted to. But the way the statute is set up, it's supposed to be somebody from the ETJ, but then if they don't have anybody, the county has the prerogative to appoint whomever to serve on our board.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Please,
I'd like to move that we adjourn.
motion to adjourn, second?
Second.
Second. Meeting's